This is me trying to play a game of Fortnite, and as you can tell, I'm not very good at it. Wait. Oh no, I have to reload, no! It got me thinking, how much better could the average person get if they played 100 games of Fortnite with the intention of improving? Now, I'm not saying this is the best way to improve. There are probably some creative Fortnite maps that are a lot more efficient, but let's say the average person just wanted to play games of Fortnite, how much better could they get? Now, I'm not gonna lie to you and say I haven't played a lot of Fortnite. I have, but most of the games I've played are zero build games, so I really don't know what I'm doing when it comes to building in Fortnite. Oh, and also we're gonna be playing all these games in ranked, so we don't run into any bots. Okay, real quick before the match starts, I gotta figure out my binds. Man, it's been so long. Oh my goodness. Alright, game one. Let's do this. My biggest advantage is gonna be early game before people have mats, but I don't want to rely on that too much. Right off the bat, this guy came in sliding. It did hit me back a little bit, but we were able to take him out. So keep in mind for this first game, I'm technically unranked, so my opponents are not gonna be that great. But they will get harder in the future. Just wait. I found this guy in this like cave thing where he had a rocket launcher, so that kind of freaked me out. I was able to put a few builds between me and him, miss a few edits, and then I ran at him, but he escaped through a telephone booth, which is pretty interesting. I heard someone else, so I tried to build up at him, quickly coned myself, but that didn't matter too much because he wasn't the best builder either, and we were able to take him out. I got a couple more simple kills, but this style of fighting isn't helping me improve that much, so it's time to get into an actual fight. Now I'm trying to concentrate as much as I can to put the right builds in the right places at the right time, but when I'm under actual pressure, I just start spamming builds, as you can see. This first guy left in a helicopter, and then another dude showed up. So I tried to apply pressure to this second guy, but it didn't go all that great. I don't even know where he went. The helicopter guy came back, so I decided to take height. Instead, I just bonked my head on the blades. Here I do something that apparently I do all the time. I accidentally slide or jump off builds when I'm in the middle of a fight. Super not helpful. I would not recommend doing that. Anyway, we were able to kind of keep up in a little bit of like a baby build fight. Didn't end up going our way, but for game one, I'm honestly not too sad about it. That performance put us in the rank of silver 3, so I'm gonna have to update my Instagram bio real quick and then I'll hop straight into game 2. Game 2, I landed Frenzy Farm where I drastically missed my window, but it's all good. We can just go through the roof. Someone landed a little later than I did, so we were able to spray him down with an SMG I had picked up. Again, I want to emphasize good fights over everything else, over wins, over good placement here. I think that's what's gonna help us out the most. So if I see a fight or a player, most likely I'm gonna go in. Ran into this guy, tried to get a cheeky little snipe on him. Didn't work. Quickly realized he can build better than anyone I've fought so far, so this is going to be pretty difficult. I try to use my amazing retake abilities to, well, retake high ground, and it kind of worked. That is until he went just higher. So I hit him with the stink nade, and that's when all the action started going down. But unfortunately, he won that one. Game number 3, the dog pound. It's bound to be hot, and boy was it. I was able to steal this AR from this skeleton guy, but he unfortunately got away from us. Not to worry, because right after we were able to take out this guy with a shotgun. I was fighting this guy that looked like a dog pound bot. I really have trouble telling the difference between them and real people. But it wasn't long before we were rudely shot in the head by the same skeleton guy that barely got away from us in the beginning. We were able to snipe him, so it worked out. This was probably our toughest fight yet, but we willed our way through it. This guy tried to grapple up on us, but we kind of unintentionally stuffed him with our stairs. Then I pulled off my signature slide off the build while you edit, take a bunch of fall damage, and then we chased him down. Couldn't find him, so I shot a couple flares in the air. But I found this guy, sniped him for 99, went for the chase. Not before I heard a car pulling up behind me. Things started getting real sketchy here. Okay, we're like driving on top of trees here. I'm not even sure what's going on. Not only that, but there's 3 of us just bobbing and weaving through this field. This guy was just driving around, so I hopped in his car. I hope he doesn't mind. From his window, I was able to get a kill, but he didn't like that, so we hopped out of his car, but we took that opportunity. I heard 2 other guys fighting over here, and I saw him with my flare gun. Absolutely beamed the heck out of this guy. Seriously, I don't know how he's still alive. But then this car started coming at me from behind. Luckily, this isn't the season where every car is bulletproof, but it still took its revenge. There was a guy on top of the roof of this house, so we grappled up and gave him a taste of this blue tack. We took him out, but then I had to lecture myself about using a grappler when I'm trying to learn how to build. The grappler is nice, but it's a handicap when you're trying to get better at building up to height. Speaking of grapplers, this guy had the infinite grappler, the one that puts ice on your feet. Now he was hard scoping us from this bush, so I made a little window edit which allowed us to get a snipe off without getting hit. We pursued, but he did have that infinite grappler, so it was hard to catch up to him. Luckily, we barely, and I mean barely, were able to take him out. We picked up his ice grappler, which caused some problems. Okay, Ice, I'm gonna need you to break, Ice. Holy cow. Stop it. Honestly hate this thing. Saw this guy in a bush, sniped him, but it was actually the dude's bot. I'm surprised they let people have bots in ranked. Also sniped this other guy to the side. But while I was distracted, the employer took high ground. Safe to say things are gonna get real sketchy here. I tried to box up, but he took my left side wall. I know this isn't a good position to be in, so I started freaking out and trading shots with him. I took out my drummies to break the wall that wasn't even there anymore, and he took that opportunity to shoot me in the face. And don't even get me started on this ice grappler. While we were healing up, bro jumped in our box, so I jumped in his, and somehow we're still alive. Made it to the top 3, so I started applying pressure to this dude hiding in a box. He built up, so I tried to follow, and just the absolute worst arrangement of builds. I mean, this pains me to even try to watch it back. We eventually made it up kind of close to him, and I tried to catch him with this right side peek, but well, he pulled out the minigun and he won in that scenario. Game 4, we're back at Frenzy. I'm really starting to like this place. Heard some footsteps to the side and was able to take this guy out right off the bat. I went to the roof to check things out and was able to get a snipe off on this guy until I was ambushed from the side. Safe to say I stayed composed. Walls, floor, walls. We ended up fighting this guy like I would a zero build fight. And that's because I was freaking out a little bit and reverted back to the nature of what I knew. It didn't quite end up being enough though, because once I found out he was white, I went in for the kill. Unfortunately, he went for the kill as well, and we traded. Here we are in the pre-game lobby of Game 5. I'm trying to make sure I practice my builds every opportunity I get. Unfortunately, it didn't matter, because the second I got to this bathroom, I got shot. Instead of closing the door for cover, I ran straight towards the guy for some reason. Game 6, we landed at Ice Isle, along with 50 other people from the map. I guess people like this spot. We were able to do a little bit of damage with the pistol, that is until Ice Spice, out of all people, almost killed me. We then ran into this Deadpool who did have a shotgun, so I decided to disengage out of that one. In fact, there were so many people here, I figured maybe we just get out of here on this helicopter. And then I reminded myself, if you want to get good, you gotta take fights. And then I took a look at my loot and I said, screw that jazz, we're getting back on the helicopter. Turns out I never really had the option anyway, because this fellow shot me down the second I started taking flight. Couldn't let that action go unpunished, so I had to take him out. Saw someone in this porta fort, so we went to take him out. Turns out he wasn't alone. We did our best to keep up in a build fight with the guy that guy was fighting, but unfortunately this guy knew what he was doing. I guess that performance was good enough to get us to gold 3, so time to update the Instagram bio again. Game 7 was able to get some more pre-game lobby practice, but in my first fight was boogie bombed and immediately got shot in the face. Game 8, we went Salty Springs and quickly ran up to the roof to fight this guy. It wasn't long before I heard someone else in the same roof. I went to check it out, and I took too long to decide to break his wall, and he edited and shot me in the face. Game 9, I pushed someone on the roof of the house in frenzy and got shot in the face. Game 10, I landed on this blue tack and was able to take out my neighbor almost immediately. Now you may remember this next part from the intro, because that is when this happened. Somehow we got this guy with the boogie bomb, and it took me a while to realize. But then I began what would be known as my first kind of box fight. I was trying to keep the pressure on him, but it was a little tough. I know at this point you're supposed to like break their stare and put in a cone in their box and then go one pump them in the face, but I don't think I'm quite at that level yet. Anyway, we've all seen it. We know how this ends up. It's not fantastic. Game 11, I was in the basement of this house and I could hear someone else in the house but didn't know where. Turns out he was right in front of me. I'm still not even sure how bro just appeared. Even though that was unfortunate, I could sleep well at night because the game had assured me that my rank had been protected. Game 12, I found myself at this spaghetti grotto, but I didn't get the weapon before this guy. Luckily there was this big tube I could jump in to escape. I found myself at this random fish house. Here I took out this gentleman who didn't really fight back, so I suppose that was nice. He was very different from this guy in the car though. He did fight back a lot. Things did ensue into a little bit of a build fight, and I was using a charged shotgun. This is a shotgun that they reintroduced into the game, and you know, surprise surprise, you have to charge it a little bit before you shoot. Anyway, things took an interesting turn and we ended up trading yet again. Game 13, I was able to fight this gentleman at Weeping Woods, all while forgetting to drink my big pot before fighting him. It didn't really matter though, because we were able to one pump him. However, this guy in pajamas came up before I had time to drink my big pot again, and a fight ensued. I was pretty low on health, so I decided to box up and try to compose myself. Normally in fights like this, I just freak out and jump out in the middle of nowhere and spam build. But he hit me with the stink nade and I threw all composure out the window and failed to edit out of my own box. This one's embarrassing, even for me. Can't dwell on it too much though, because we're on to game 14. Shot this guy, shot this guy, shot that guy, and then unfortunately got shot by this guy. Game 15, found ourselves at this facility. I don't even know what it is, in a little bit of a fight. Unfortunately for me though, my builds are still slow and inefficient, so it's never that long until I run out of mats. The one thing I thought I could count on, my aim, failed me as well as I whiffed this pump shot and then all my dreams slowly faded. Game 16, I was able to pick this charged shotgun up right off the bat, and this guy landed a little late, so he accepted his fate. I was a little bit more reluctant to do so. That was until this guy decided to put a cone over the top of my head. So I took this opportunity to drop down and build maybe the most ugly and ineffective set of boxes next to each other that anyone has ever built. Really wanting to just get away from the whole situation, I decided to third party this guy. We did put in some good damage though, so I decided to rush him with the grappler. And I know, I'm not supposed to be using the grappler like this, but you know, when you're in the situation, it's hard to not. Regardless, we were able to take this guy out. Someone quickly followed me to like the conference room with a dog pound, where I then hit the world record for the most missed edits in like 3 seconds, and then just got drum gunned back to the lobby. With that performance, we find ourselves in Plat 1. I'm sure you guys know what that means by now. Game 17, we were at Holly Hedges. Found this guy running away from another dude, so I decided to take advantage of it. Wasn't long before I found myself in some hot water of my own. Luckily, even though I can't build well, I can still build a little bit. And since these guys focused on each other, I was able to take advantage yet again. Once upon a time, there was a guy boxed up in Weeping Woods. I tried to apply the pressure to this guy so I could send him back to the lobby. Quite ironically, he ended up doing that to me. I tried to box up, but it was a little bit too late for me and the drummies. The end. If you like the stories, don't forget to like or subscribe. Or if you do both, I don't even know. At that point, I don't even know. I think you at least shoot up to a level 7 out of 10 on the cool scale, but I don't know the rules. Game 18, we're returning back to our roots at Pleasant Park. Here's the situation. I know there's someone below me and I accidentally dropped down to him. He does what any normal person would do and he shot me in the face. Game 19, we find ourselves in Weeping Woods in a 1v1 with this guy. I try to show off my builds a little bit, but I run out of mats and things quickly turn south. In fact, I probably should have died, but somehow we were able to turn the situation around back on him. He opened up the floor for us, and we took that opportunity to rush him. Since we're in Weeping Woods, I gathered as many materials as I could and took this opportunity to practice builds since I was all alone. Or at least I thought I was all alone. Luckily, these double G bombs, aka boogie bombs, are just very OP. It's unfortunate for this guy, but I gotta get back to practicing my builds, man, because they are very scrappy right now. It's pretty late in the match, and there are guys fighting below me, so, you know, why not? Let's just boogie bomb ourselves, dance a little bit. No time like the present, right? We were able to keep up with this guy in a build fight for a little bit. It's a good thing we had all that time to practice earlier, but eventually he did take control of my wall and I kind of freaked out and, Game 20, and I found an item that I don't think I've ever seen before. It's called the decoy, and it makes a fake you that can distract your opponents. That's pretty interesting. This gentleman came at me, and while I missed my pump shot, he did not miss his. With all that being said, I threw a few builds between me and him and figured this is probably the best time to try out this decoy thing. I threw it, and I think it actually worked. It's hard to know for sure, but there were some shots going on, and this guy did not expect me on the roof. So I never thought the decoy would actually be useful, but I think it worked there. I happened upon this build fight and figured I'd third party, but what I didn't expect was someone behind me that was trying to fourth party. I let him walk straight into this charged pump shot, but then I almost threw by missing basically the rest of my shots. After I healed up, someone else beamed me from behind. I built up, but unfortunately the guy just shot me down, so I tried to flip the situation on him with a boogie bomb, and we did in fact get him dancing for us, but unfortunately we only hit him for 143. And he quickly shot us back. Game 21, we landed at Frenzy Fields. We died at Frenzy Fields. Game 22, we landed at this snow facility. I'm not sure what to call it. We had a very charged conversation with this individual. Actually really freaked me out. I almost thought I was dead for sure here. Had a bit of a scuffle, I guess you could call it, with this guy here. We both just kind of ran around frantically, randomly placing builds until we both ran out of mats. Figured it was probably best to just bail out of that situation. Then we came across this guy, which I'm not entirely sure what he was doing, but we'll take it. I heard someone down here, so I took this wall, and I guess there's a vault in there. I actually honestly had no idea. Either way, we missed our pump shot, but we did do some damage with our SMG to this guy. This guy started taking some height, so I started taking some height back. Kind of ish, to the best of my ability. We were able to put in some good damage on this guy, and it's safe to say I think I had this in the bag. That is, until this guy whipped out this like mythic charged shotgun and, sent me back to the lobby. Game 23, I hit both me and this guy with the boogie bomb, and I gotta say, he was able to pull out his weapon very fast. We lost that encounter, nevertheless. Nothing we couldn't fix in game 24. We shot this guy's toes in the bathroom, but he was also drinking a slurp juice, so we have to be cautious about this. Just kidding, we got shot by the guy next door. We tried running, but it didn't work. Game 25, I was creeping on a roof, and I saw someone else creeping on a different roof. We had a sniper, and he didn't notice us, so that was that. We then ran into a pretty aggressive player, and right then and there, I knew it was going to be an uphill battle. Now, I'm not saying my builds are good by any means, but if you look at what I was doing in game 1, I think this is definitely some improvement. As this build fight was going on, another guy decided to join the party. I wanted a piece of the action, so I kind of jumped in this guy's box and spray battled him for a little bit. Luckily we came out on top, but before I grabbed any of the loot, I built up and tried to prepare for the second guy. I was peeking at a bad angle with low HP and he shot me in the face. Game 26, I decided to take it easy a little bit, land at these houses away from a hot spot. This way hopefully I could get some good fights in. We did have one other guy, but I don't think he was expecting me to be on the roof with a sniper. Then we came across this guy, sniped him for 99 and started to apply some pressure. While we were applying pressure, we definitely got shot and now he knows we're white, so I don't really think we have the advantage anymore. But I mean, we'll go for it. We got some scrappy builds and a 50-50 chance of winning this thing, so why not, you know? Why not? We were really low and he tried to capitalize on it by grappling up to us, but it worked out for us more than it did for him. I'll just say that. And then someone else quickly came along and shot me in the face. Game 27, we landed at this random house in between all these mountains. Thought I heard someone nearby, not sure where he came from. We hit him for 85 white. I thought he was going to continue to run away, but he came back and generously gave us the elimination. We moved into Lazy Lakes where we got a snipe off on this individual standing on the roof. We took height on someone else who was in town, but they had shocks and they weren't afraid to use them. He shocked up and then I boxed up to try to cover any angles, but I think I came out a little bit too quick because he jumped on me right after that and we had a little bit of a spray fight, which I lost. Game 27, thought maybe Santa Claus was on the roof, instead it was just this guy. Still on the search for Santa Claus, we were surprised on the roof by this gentleman. Now he was quite aggressive with his fighting style and we messed up our build, so we ended up boxed underneath him. He jumped in, decided to take a 50. I'm not sure if he meant to do that or not. Either way, it surprised me quite a bit, but we survived, even if it was just barely. There was a guy below us that we did some damage to. He was trying to drink a shield, so I was trying to stop that from happening by applying the pressure. We did a little edit and took a trade and I was able to come out on top of this situation. We went to Frenzy Farm where I was able to take this guy's wall when he was healing. Pulled out the charged shotgun and bopped him for 127 and then pulled out the SMG, which wasn't reloaded. Fortunately, he didn't do any damage to us in the time it took us to reload. Right after that, we were surprised by this guy who I'm assuming heard the fight and wanted to come finish it off himself. With a little bit of grapple usage, we were able to shotgun him in the face, but it wasn't long until we were surprised yet again, and this time we weren't the ones walking away. Game 28, I was in the middle of a fight and didn't see this guy edit out from a cone behind me. Safe to say we didn't last too much longer after that. Well guys, somehow I made it to Diamond. I think that just means now everyone I fight is automatically better than me. But being better than me doesn't mean you're going to expect this third-party window shot right when you guys finish fighting. But it does mean my tragic attempt at peace control can be foiled by a singular tree. That, combined with the fact that this guy actually knew what he was doing, he was able to trap me in my own box, quickly led to the end of my game 29, although I was able to almost spray him down with a mythic drum gun. Game 30, I was able to take out the first guy in the barn, but the second guy hit me with a pretty good boogie bomb, and even though I tried my best, I wasn't able to do much with that. Game 31, we got grappled on, and I shot him, but he shot me harder. After that, it wasn't long before I messed up an edit, and game 31 quickly turned into game 32. I tried to break into this guy's house, but he was just sitting there waiting for me. I'm not entirely sure what happened to that guy, but a different guy ran out of the house, so I decided to fight him instead. To no one's surprise, turns out he was a little bit better than I was. Game 33 was just wild in every sense of the word. First off, there was this little encounter. And I mean, we were both low. There was people popping out left and right. Everyone was missing shots. I don't even know what happened or how we survived, but we did. I think what was really my downfall, at least mentally, was me trying to nade some guy in the house, and I ended up just nading myself. I don't think anyone will argue that put me in a pretty bad spot for this next encounter, although it was actually kind of close. I was grateful for game 34 because it allowed me the opportunity to practice a simple box fight, not something I got to practice too much so far in these games. You can tell just how slow my reactions are, which is actually, it's kind of funny to look at in the replay, because in the moment it feels like everything's going at 100 miles an hour. We took a few trades with this guy, and unfortunately if I was able to shoot one more bullet, I probably would have been able to take the wall back, but we did not do that. Game 35, I landed Salty Springs and it was pretty hot. I thought it was over when I whiffed this first pump shot, but he allowed me a second. Things got a little interesting when I got into this next build battle at Frenzy Farm. I'm not sure if it was my movement or the way I landed or what, but you can tell my game got a little glitched out. Fortunately, we were able to get the kill, but it didn't seem like anything I was doing was allowing me to be able to walk normally. I found myself in another fight not too long after, but seeing as my movement was quite limited, I thought it was only a matter of time until this guy sends me back to the lobby. Interestingly enough, we were actually able to win this fight. Right after that fight, another guy came along and quickly gave me the sweet relief of being able to walk again. The fact that I was able to win any fight in that condition really went to show me that when I put no pressure on myself, it's way easier to stay composed and play probably like 10 times better. Now in game 36, I told myself I was going to play more composed, and even though I was able to get a couple kills, it's one thing to tell yourself you're going to stay composed, it's a whole nother thing to actually be able to consistently do it. That point was quickly repeated to me in game 37. In game 38, I was fighting this one guy and then someone spawned right next to me. I guess my spatial awareness isn't that great. Funnily enough, they traded right before I got in there, so I got all the loot. With all that beautifully free loot, I was able to run out and surprise this guy, hit him for 77 damage, but he built above me and then shot me on top of the head. Game 39, we had this guy trapped inside of his own the roof. We took his wall and dodged his shot, meanwhile hitting him for some good damage. I took that opportunity to jump in his box and almost immediately died. But we were luckily able to grab the kill. I was feeling pretty good about myself after that fight until this guy put a masterclass on me, and I think I'm probably in one of his montages now. Game 40, we were at Frenzy Fields and we were fighting this guy who I thought I had trapped inside of this house. Thought it would be a good idea to throw a bunch of nades in, and then I went to go look for him, and I'm pretty sure bro threw an ender pearl outside. I have no idea how he got behind me. Regardless, it ended in my elimination. Game 41, we're at Pleasant Park. I found myself with no mats and very little loot trying to sneak a surprise attack on this guy. Our shots traded, we hit him for some good damage, but unfortunately it wasn't enough when he took off my toes with his shotgun. Game 42, we're back at Frenzy Farm. I really do like this place, although this guy was pretty aggressive, and all things considered, it lasted about just as long as Game 41. But don't worry, we'll turn around in Game 43. Using our blue AK, which is very accurate by the way, we were able to dink this guy a couple times and weaken him quite a bit. Unfortunately, he did launch pad, but I was confident I could take him out of the air. That was until this guy showed up. It wasn't long until the guy on the roof also noticed I was in trouble, and I was already preparing myself to go back to the lobby. It was quite the predicament, but I was able to do enough damage to the guy on top of me to allow me some space. Someone else showed up to the party, because it's not a true party until there's at least 4 people. We traded some shots, but I decided to back off even more. 4 people's great and all, but why not 5? I think that's what this guy was thinking when he shot at me from the side. I didn't even have enough mats to build a wall, so I had to mine this tree real quick. He pushed up and the fighting ensued. I was pretty sure it was only going to be a matter of seconds until I died, but I couldn't even tell you what happened here. Some things happened and somehow we are still alive. That is until we dropped down and got ran over by a car. Game 44, we went salty and had a little scuffle with this guy. Luckily, our shots connected and we were able to take him out. It wasn't long before our wall got stolen by another gentleman here. If I didn't whiff with my shotgun, I'm pretty sure we would have got this kill. Game 45, and I boogie bombed myself yet again. Here's the kicker. Not once, but twice. Seriously, these things are more of a danger to myself than anyone else. Game 46, I found this guy, and this is a good demonstration for if you ever thought stink bombs were not overpowered. I beg to differ because I had a bunch of them, and every chance I got, I threw one at this guy. He tried building, he tried running, but no matter what he did, he could never avoid this stink. And I didn't really even do much at all. I'm telling you, the stink nades kind of feel like cheating. But I guess you could say I lost all my aura when I tried to flare gun this guy and ended up hitting myself. But we got a cheeky little pump off, and when he was running in the zone, we were able to hit him with our AK. On the downside, we were pretty weak coming out of zone, and before we got out of our car, someone blew it up. My insurance sure isn't, that's so hard to say, my insurance sure isn't gonna like that. Try to say that 10 times fast. Game 47. Maybe you guys know this chest was a trap, but I sure did not. It dropped me into a room with 3 turrets. Luckily, it gave me a pretty good shotgun and we were able to get out. I then heard someone else but couldn't pinpoint their exact location until I had one of those "they're right behind me, aren't they" moments. And sure enough, he was. It freaked me out in the moment, but we were able to take him out. I was trying to apply pressure to this guy. Some people know how to handle pressure, some people don't. This guy knew how to handle it, and he just built around a whole bunch and shot me in the face, so I think he knew what he was doing. Right now, we're at Diamond 2, and until we actually get better, I hope we don't go any higher than that. Game 48, we definitely had some problems over here at the dog pound. Lots of people building at each other and shooting at each other, and I was smack dab in the middle of it. But no need to worry, I wasn't in the middle of it for too long. Game 49, we're at Pleasant Park, and we're fighting someone who has a shotgun. But we only have SMGs. Safe to say we traded a little bit, and then I decided to back off. That's until I got this slurp juice from this chest, and it felt like all hope was regained. Even after all that, I still managed to throw the fight. Now that I'm watching it back, I probably should have let the slurp juice actually heal me up a little bit, but you know, whatever. And that brings us to game 50, the halfway point. Although it seems like we've been going for quite a while already. I hope my editor isn't too mad. Just kidding, I am the editor, and I'm not mad. Although if you guys were to like and subscribe, I'm sure my editor would appreciate it. Anyways, let's see if we can drum up something special for game 50. We could not. No need to fret, there's always game 51. Okay, no one cares about game 51. You're crazy if you came for game 51. Everyone cares about game 52 though. Okay, I'll be the first to admit that I'm doing worse, but my opponents are way better. So am I actually doing worse, or am I doing better? If you're confused, so am I. Okay, regardless of whatever it is I just said, let's move on to game 53 where I got boogie bombed. Son of a gun, man. Okay, somebody please tell me we did something in game 54. Okay, look, we killed this kid. The tides are changing, except maybe they're not. Game 55, we're at Holly Hedges, and I have some advice for you. If you run into this guy, don't do what I did. Game 56, we're at the dog pound where it's always pretty crazy. We were able to pick up this first kill, but I knew there was someone right behind me. I ran and boxed up, but I have a bad habit of exiting my box for no reason at all, without healing knowing or without knowing where they are, and it always ends up terribly. Game 57, I didn't know this guy was in the rafters of the attic, and it scared the crap out of me. After that happened, he just came out and shot me in the face. Salty was definitely real busy at game 58. I was off to the races with this guy. First one to find a weapon should win. I found a shotgun, but I ran into this guy's grenade trap, which almost worked. My house quickly became the center of attention of the whole town, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to do much with that. Game 59, this guy tried to get the drop on me, but the only thing that happened was he was dropped back to the lobby. I was then able to do a little bit of third partying on the roof. The second guy put up a little bit more of a fight than the first guy did, but we got it done, you know, all in a day's work. I went to take height on this gentleman here, but then I noticed something interesting. This guy was in a tree healing. Unfortunately, my snipe missed. Not long after that, I was sent back to the lobby. Game 60, I knew it was going to be a good game because I got a scar and a big pot out of my first chest. Then apparently I was in someone's garage and they came home at the same time. Let's just say it was awkward. We started to fight each other and I got third party, but I was probably going to die anyway, so it's not a big deal. You guys remember my box fight from earlier in this same exact room? Well, that one didn't work out, but this is game 61. It's my time to shine. My time to show off my improvement. Alright, maybe I'm being a little sarcastic, but this wall edit was pretty interesting, and it worked out this time for us. Someone was breaking into the wall right behind us, so I had to go ahead and show them that this was private property. No trespassing allowed, my friend. One house over, we were being chased again. Intruders, this time into my neighbor's house, so I did the neighborly thing and I sent them back to the lobby. They sure must be popular because it wasn't long before someone else showed up. And after going through all this trouble, they will never be able to tell me I'm not a good neighbor. Sadly, on this last guy, I missed my opportunity to get a good pump shot off, but he got sent to the lobby right after me. Let's just say game 62 didn't exactly go the way I hoped it would. Worst of all, we ended up getting boogie bombed. I actually thought this might be the same guy that killed me last game, but it wasn't. Game 63, we were fighting someone who was actually pretty good, but I did not keep an eye on my mats. Nevertheless, if I was able to follow up better after my pump shot, I think we could have won that fight. Game 64 was wrapped up pretty fast. This is not good, I only have a hunting rifle. This game is actually salvageable if I hit my shot. Didn't hit my shot. Game 66, let's try our hand at box fighting again. All things considered, it's not terrible, but we definitely have a ways to go. In game 67, I was trying to take this helicopter down when I was rudely shot in the side from someone on the building next to me. I figured this time we'd do something crazy with our legendary sniper. Not surprisingly, it didn't work out. Game 68, I remember as being a frustrating one, and that's because I had this guy on the ropes until somebody from a window in a house across the street shot me in the side with an AR, but I figured, you know what? It's all good. We have this guy low. Let's go ahead and keep fighting him. And then lo and behold, I get hit with a boogie bomb from the same guy. But I still really want this kill, so I move forward with the aggression. Right as I jump in this guy's box, you know who, just having the damn time of his life over there, just hits us both with the boogie bomb. This guy boxes back up, and at this point, I'm like, alright, fine. I guess we have to leave before bro does something else. I wasn't in the best spot, so I tried to confuse this guy with my edits. Unfortunately, I pulled out my sniper instead of my shotgun, but in the end, it probably wouldn't have saved me anyway. Game 69, this guy was hiding underneath the steps, so I decided to throw some nades down there. Unfortunately, he walked out at just the right time, and I took a little too long to react. A spray battle happened, and that's a spray battle we didn't win. Game 70, we quickly grabbed an AK to rush this guy on our house, but fortunately for him, there was another dude in the window next door. I went in the roof to try to break down in the house, but I couldn't do it before this guy also came into the roof. Game 71, I knew someone was in this house, but I didn't expect them to be sprinting at me through this doorway. Luckily, they didn't expect me to be there either, so we were able to take him out. Not long after, I was shot at, so I boxed up, but like I said, I have a bad habit of leaving boxes, and I assumed this guy wasn't as close as he actually was. He took that opportunity to shoot me in the face. Game 72, I decided to show off my exquisite 90s. This guy here was paralyzed by my building abilities and we took him out. Just kidding, he wasn't even looking my way, but same difference. Even with all those 90s, someone was still able to take out our builds and shoot us in the head. That's been happening a lot recently. Game 73, dead. Game 74, dead. Game 75, alive actually. But then dead. Dead. Wait, actually game 78 was interesting. You see, this game I decided to change some of my building binds, so I was just practicing on the side trying to get used to them, but I knew I would die to the first person I actually fought. That was unless maybe they came at me from the sky. If I could do enough damage before they landed like that, then we didn't have to build anything there. I pretty much just spent the rest of the match practicing my builds, trying to get used to them, until somehow I found myself in moving zones. I'm a bit inexperienced when it comes to surviving matches past like the first few minutes, so this was a whole new world for me. But it was a 1v1 scenario and I knew I had to do this for all my fans. Okay, well, I tried. I'm sorry, guys. I died to zone. I'm sorry, I tried. Game 79 actually went pretty well. I was able to kill this guy, and this guy, and this guy. And then I tried to drop off from height in this last fight and just died to fall damage. So there's that. We made it to game 80 and we're Frenzy Farm. This guy and I had a disagreement between whether or not water was wet. You could say it got heated. Game 81, I was having a bit of an aim battle with this guy. I hit him a few times, so I thought I'd go in. The thing is, I was pretty careless on my way in and took a lot of damage. I was able to pump him for like 65 white, but unfortunately we couldn't finish the job. Game 82, we didn't have the best loot, but we were able to spray this guy to death. Before we could grab any good loot, we were put under pressure by this guy. I decided it's probably best to just grapple out of that scenario. I found myself at the dog pound, and watching this back, I'm pretty sure I've never made it out of the dog pound alive. Seems like that's where most of the sweats go. Game 83, I saw these guys fighting, so I decided to go for a wall retake. It was slow, but we got it. I then turned my attention to the guy this guy was fighting, but I got beamed from the side. So I went to push that guy, and then the guy that I went to push originally, not the first guy, but the second guy. You guys get it. What? I don't even know what I'm saying. You guys saw what happened. Third parties, but I can't even complain because I was one of them like 10 seconds ago. But you know what we can complain about? The fact that I didn't know this guy was here and I wasn't able to react to him. Game 85 might have been the quickest I've died in a lobby so far. My lack of aim in Game 86 was my downfall. I was quickly boogie bombed and sent back to the lobby. Game 87 I was up against this guy, but luckily he did most of the heavy lifting for me. In the next fight I was out of mats, and unfortunately this guy was expecting my grapple attempt. That being said, he wasn't expecting the second grapple attempt. I was making my way, reloading my guns, moseying around, and then I saw this guy. I was feeling pretty confident though, you know, it was game 87, I've been practicing quite a bit. Sometimes I even know what I'm doing, but I suppose you could say my timing still needs a little bit of work. Game 88, I was up against this gentleman in Frenzy Farms. I don't know if there's any other way to put this except he was just better than me. You could tell he knew what he was doing more than I knew what I was doing. Game 89 was weird, and I mean that in the sense that I lost this fight, but I feel like I should have won this fight. I don't know. It's very, very interesting to me. Game 90 wasn't so great either. I did some damage, went in, got boogie bombed, and then got shot by somebody else. It's game 91, and things are getting a little hot at Lazy Lake, so I decided to get out of here. It wasn't until I was pretty far that I realized this guy was still in the car with me. I definitely thought this guy got out. I was at a pretty big health disadvantage, but was able to get him to get out of my car, making him think that I was going to switch cars. Even though he got out, he'd be able to catch up quick because my car was pretty much out of gas. It was close, but I actually managed to get away in this pickup truck. But these things only have a max speed of about 7 miles an hour, so it didn't matter all that much. Game 92, we're in Pleasant Park and we're pulling out the aggressive maneuvers. It didn't work for us that time. Game 93, we're salty and we had an aim battle. We also lost that aim battle, but he had a legendary TAC AR, just saying. Just saying. Game 94, I saw someone on the roof, I was gonna go push him, and then I got shot in the back of the head with a sniper. Game 95, we got a pretty good beam off on this guy. This time I ran at him a little bit more protected, so I didn't take a bunch of damage. We tried to apply some pressure, and although we're better at applying pressure than we were in the first few games, we're still not great at it. Long story short, this guy just kept on making boxes and boxes, and it took us a little too long to get the job done. Long enough for a third party to come over and complicate things a little bit. I ended up taking some damage, so I decided to dip. This guy wasn't gonna let that happen though, and I missed my pump shot. Game 96, this guy started smacking me with his pickaxe out of nowhere. I couldn't let that slide, so I chased him to this tomato truck. I didn't think he had any decent loot, but he did have a shotgun, and he used it. It's game 97, and my loot is pretty tragic. Although I think we can still make something happen here. I traded some good damage with this guy, but then to no one's surprise, a third party showed up. It's game 98 and we were able to get some good damage on this guy. I probably could have gotten more if I'd charged at my charged shotgun, but I forgot it was a charged shotgun. Regardless, we were able to take this guy out. I was waiting for this guy to edit his wall, and even though he did, I still shot the wall because he made a smart play. We were almost able to bring back the fight, but not quite. In game 99, I got a little overconfident breaking this guy's wall, and he just... man, did he just shoot me in the face. And this, my friends, brings us to game 100. Triple digits, our last game to show off what we can do. We decided to go Frenzy Farm. No one else actually went Frenzy Farm, so we looted up and then we rotated out to the dog pound. Now there was someone else here, and the only way I can really describe how the fight went was ring around the rosy. It was going on for ages and we were just going up and down throughout the buildings and stuff, tagging each other a little bit here and there. As fun as Ring Around the Rosie is, I decided to back off and go to zone a little early. We're near Pleasant Park in the top 10, and guess who shows up? And this time they got a rocket launcher. Unfortunately, I get hit and I'm really low. Right here, I'm thinking all hope is lost on my game 100. However, when I'm boxing up, this guy gets beamed right next to me, and I'm able to take advantage of it. I can't really take a deep breath yet, though. Before I can even get minis off, the guy that beamed him is already on me, trying to get another elimination. I am able to escape a little bit and build some metal boxes, which is nice. I do take a really sketchy peek here, and although we didn't get any damage, we also didn't die. Now, I'm thinking this guy's probably going to try to break into one of my boxes. He does, and I'm pretty sure he has a good idea that I'm not at full health. Here's when I decide to do something that's a little drastic. I make a little double edit, and then I get shot because I don't stand stand close enough to my own walls. That's a pretty good peak if you stand close to your own walls, but I just wasn't there. Well, that was game 100. As you can see, we ended up in Diamond 2. That's some decent progress from where I started. Anyways, guys, if you like the content, don't forget to subscribe. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.